This was one of the greatest moments in NHL history. Although it ended a 43-year-long curse and gave the Capitals the first Stanley Cup in franchise history, this triumph meant so much more. Ovi winning the Cup cemented himself as an all-time great and finally silenced the critics who had been labeling him a choker his entire career. To fully understand just everything that led to this very moment, we need to backtrack all the way to the beginning of the story. Ever since getting swept in the 1998 final, to say the Capitals had a steep decline in the years that followed would be the understatement of a lifetime. After being upset by Pittsburgh in the first round for 2 straight seasons, the Caps decided that if you can't beat them, you should buy them, and would go on to acquire Jaromir Jagr in a massive trade. Unfortunately, it blew up in their face as the furthest they'd ever get with Jagr was a first-round loss to Tampa in 2003. And in the season that followed that loss, the Capitals would quickly become a total dumpster fire. Halfway through the year, they'd offload Jagr, and after finishing second last in the league, the direction for Washington was unclear. If they wanted any chance of getting back on their feet anytime soon, they'd need a miracle. But luckily for Washington, the 2004 draft had a generational talent.
The first selection, 2004 NHL entry draft, the Washington Capitals are pleased to select Alexander Ovechkin.
After the lockout canceled the 04-05 season, when Ovi played in his first full year, it was clear that he was special. 52 goals and 106 points propelled him to take home the Calder Trophy, and the excitement was immeasurable. In his sophomore year, Ovi would continue to dazzle and would start to build a lethal connection with countryman Alex Semin. Although Washington weren't a playoff team just yet, due to their solid drafting, the excitement was building rapidly. And when the 07-08 season kicked off, it was clear that something was different. With 2006 first-round pick Nicholas Backstrom making the jump from Europe, right away the Capitals could tell they had another game-breaking prospect in their hands. With his new right-hand man feeding him one-tees, Ovi would score 65 goals, and the Capitals would muster together an impressive season, clinching a playoff berth for the first time in 5 years. And after Ovi scored the game winner in Game 1, it seemed like it would be a cakewalk to the second round.
Drive by team and a save, rebound, they score! The Flyers win it in overtime, Joffrey Lupul!
Well, after the heartbreak, Capitals would beef up their prospect pool in the draft and would come back even stronger in the next season. Ovi potted 50, Backstrom got 88 points, and Mike Green would score 30 as a D-man. After they secured the second seed in the East, they'd face off against the Rangers in round 1. Although they fell down 3-1 in the series, they'd storm back to force a Game 7, and thanks to a Sergei Fedorov game winner, they'd make it into the second round for the first time since '98. Facing off against their kryptonite Penguins, it seemed like the Capitals would hold their own, especially after an Ovechkin hat-trick in Game 2 gave them a 2-0 series lead. But then Pittsburgh would rifle off 3 straight wins and had the chance to send the Caps packing in Game...
Blake with a shot, score! Deflected in by David Steckel!
After the miracle win for Washington, this set up a Game 7 for all the...
Here's Adams with a chance, he scores! And it's in tow. Crosby pulls up, drops it off, Garrett Stilton scores! Off and goes to Letang, he fires, he scores, distractions. Score! Jordan Staal chips one. Sidney Crosby with a long breakaway, in on Theodore, to the 480, score!
Well, after a gut-wrenching loss to the eventual champs, Washington took it as a learning experience. After beefing up their prospect pool even more, the 09-10 season was special. Ovi scored 50, Semin got 40, Backstrom reached 100 points, and Washington were the best team in the league by a mile. When the playoffs came around, the Capitals had their sights set on a deep run.
No! It's over! Montreal wins! Oh my!
Well, after getting halaked in the first round and choking a 3-1 lead to the 8th seed, words could not describe the disappointment. But at least they had another solid draft. After they lost Jose Theodore in free agency, heading into the 10-11 season, space would open up for one of Washington's most promising prospects. They'd come back in 2010-11 with a very similar roster, and would also see very similar success. Top seed in the East again, they'd walk through the Rangers in round 1, and after the Lightning had upset the Penguins in the first round, Washington hoped to send Tampa Bay packing quickly.
Time is up! That's it! The Lightning have swept the Capitals!
But after they got swept, it was clear that something needed to change. After a slow start to the 11-12 season, Capitals would fire Bruce Boudreau and bring in Dale Hunter. They'd struggle to get back onto their feet, but managed to secure the number 7 seed. In a miracle first round, they'd shock the reigning champion Bruins in 7, and in round 2, they'd face off against the top-seeded Rangers. After forcing a Game 7, the Capitals had a chance to pull off another crazy upset.
Can they score? Del Zotto!
When the lockout-shortened 12-13 season began, Washington did not look great at the start of the year, but after a crazy streak in April, they'd secure the 3rd seed in the East and would match up against the Rangers yet again. And they would lose in Game 7 yet again as well. Things would go from bad to worse because the next season they wouldn't even make the playoffs. But this would soon become a blessing in disguise. After the failure of a season, the Caps would fire head coach Adam Oates and replace him with Barry Trotz. Soon after Trotz came in, the team would make a couple huge splashes in free agency, and with the help of a couple new rookies, the 14-15 season was a successful bounce-back year for Washington. After securing the 2nd seed in the Metro, the Capitals would beat the Isles in 7 in the first round, and in round 2 they'd match up against... oh no.
Ovechkin out in front, they score! Joe Moore! Game 3 for Washington. Washington wins Game 4 with a breakaway, shut down. Oh, Lundqvist, did he get it? No!
Oh my god, they might do it.
It's gone, they score!
Look out, here's the shot, scores! Then on out to Nash! He scores! Now the Rangers control this one up high, there's the blast, rebound, scores!
After the gut-wrenching loss, Washington were going to look a whole lot different in the next year. When free agency kicked off, they'd lose longtime Capitals Mike Green, Eric Fair, and Joel Ward on the first day. Although they'd signed Justin Williams to make up for it, they still needed to fill the gaps quick. And on July 2nd, in a massive trade with St. Louis, the Capitals would land TJ Oshie. Heading into the season with high expectations, the Capitals went above and beyond. They'd end the year as the best team in the league with 120 points, and after they slapped up the Flyers in 6, they'd be reunited with an old foe. After a TJ Oshie hat-trick in Game 1, it seemed like the demons of old were finally out the door. In 2016-17, the patience from fans was simply running out. In the offseason, they lost Jason Chimera, but would pick up Lars Eller and Brett Connolly as replacements. And in the regular season, they saw yet another President's Trophy, but at this point, nobody cares about the regular season. The first round, they take down the Leafs in 6, and round 2 would be a rematch of last year. Well, after the Penguins went up 3-1, it seemed like this was going to be the same old story. Oh my god, they might actually do it. After another year that ended in disappointment, the offseason saw a total overhaul. Alzner, Williams, and Shattenkirk would all leave in free agency, and they'd also offload Marcus Johansson. After losing 4 key roster players, the replacements were Alex Chiasson, Devontae Smith-Pelly, and Michael Kempe. Anyways, the regular season was successful yet again, but who cares? Hoping to get over the first stepping stone quickly, when the series against Columbus kicked off, Washington were...
Moves in and shoots, scores! Artemi Panarin, the overtime winner, and the Blue Jackets take Game 1!
Anyways, Washington would get back on their feet in Game 2 and...
Scores! Matt Calvert! Jackets go up 2-0 in this series!
Bro, you gotta be kidding me, right? When Game 3 rolled around, it seemed Washington had woken back up.
There the shot! Scores! What a beautiful goal!
Will go to sudden victory overtime.
Oh my god, bro. Well, suddenly the Capitals had their backs against the wall. If they allowed the next goal, they'd fall to an inescapable pit, down 3-0 in the series. But if they scored, their Stanley Cup hopes would suddenly be revived.
Smith-Pelly on the feet.
Connolly fires! Rebound doorstep! It's in! Awesomeness!
And after this victory, they would walk through Columbus.
Kuznetsov centering line. Ovechkin scores! Alex Ovechkin!
To the point, Orlov scores! Nick Backstrom!
Devontae Smith-Pelly, his shot scores!
After wrapping up the series in 6, the second round opponent would be... shit.
Kuznetsov scores! Ovechkin scores!
Oh, nice. Not again, bro.
Ovechkin scores! Backstrom moving on. Atop Ovechkin. He scores! With 1:07 to go. Kuznetsov scores! Right to Holtby. Here comes Ovechkin. He looks to center. Bravo scores! Bravo scored! Empty netter. Then we'll finish it off, and we will see you in Pittsburgh.
Oh my god. Heading into Game 6, it was uncharted territory for Washington. The one hump they could never get over finally seemed closer than ever. And after Alex Chiasson scored a squeaker to give the Caps the lead, it seemed to be written in the stars.
Letang has tied the game. It's 1-1.
And Game 6 is going to overtime.
And Hagelin go for it. Fed back on Kunafa at the post with the shot.
Not like this, bro.
Tang on the right wing to Crosby. A poke check away, and now the counter. Here come the Caps. Kuznetsov gets loose.
And I understand you've come to shake my hand. I apologize if it makes you feel bad, seeing me so tense, no self-confidence. But you see, those winning